Very good afternoon to everyone joining us for this Facebook Live. First of all, apologies for starting this session about 15 minutes delayed, but hopefully we can make it up for you with a very informative session that we have in store. So, today's topic is quite an interesting and important one, and we will talk about the initiatives that Atal Innovation Mission is doing in this regards. Today, let us introduce ourselves. I'm Pramit, Program Director in Atal Innovation Mission, and especially looking after the Atal New India Challenges. And I'm joined by a very special person, a dear friend and colleague of mine, Deepali Upadhyay.
Hi, Pramit. Hi, everyone.
So, Deepali is also a Program Director in Atal Innovation Mission, looking after the Atal Tinkering Labs program, which is our school program. And both of us today are going to take you through the various initiatives that Atal Innovation Mission is taking with respect to women-centric challenges and women-centric issues. And we'll also talk in details about what we are doing under Atal New India challenges and so on. And finally, but not the least, we are going to take lots of your questions. Some questions have already come to us. We'll be answering them, and as and when this live proceeds, we'll be getting in further more questions, and we'll go ahead. So without further ado, I'll just give you a background of what we are talking about Atal New India Challenges. So most of you might know Atal New India Challenges is a flagship initiative of Atal Innovation Mission, where we actually seek, select and support startups throughout their whole journey from prototyping to commercialization. So in short, Atal New India Challenges is this. And here, every year, we launch certain challenges under different themes, covering all the aspects of the Indian economy, right from education, health, to space and technology and applications, renewable energy. And finally, currently, what we are at live is women-centric challenges, which is a topic which is very close to us. So, as you know, that last month, about 15 days ago, we celebrated the Day for Women Entrepreneurs. And what better than to celebrate this whole month and a half going forward from that particular date as something to do with women-centric challenges. So that is the whole background why we do Atal New India Challenges and what we are trying to do in the women-centric piece. So before I just open it up or rather discuss more about the Atal New India Challenges, women-centric specific ones, I just loop in Deepali a bit in terms of understanding. So what challenges is one bit of it which we are talking about. What else are we doing in the space of women-centric things in Atal Innovation Mission?
Thanks, Pramit. And I think all of us are very excited about the latest challenge that has been rolled out by Atal New India Challenges program, women-centric and women-focused challenges. I think a really important topic, a really important space where innovation needs to be done. And a few things that I would add in terms of my inputs as a woman, what I feel really should be taken care of to all you innovators out there when you are innovating for such a theme and challenge. But before we get into that, Atal Innovation Mission is covering the entire spectrum of key groups or demographics, so to say, right from young children and students. And with this, the Atal Tinkering Labs program, the program that is catered towards school students from grade 6 to 12, the idea is that at that very young age, students and especially girl students get access to resources and 21st century skills and technologies so that, at a young age, they're able to think about innovation and entrepreneurship. You're seeding it at the right age amongst students, amongst children of India who are actually going to be our future innovators. This program is now in 10,000 schools across the country in 700 districts. So the whole idea of being inclusive, being spread out across the country, making it equally accessible for rural as well as urban India, making it equally accessible for girls as well as boys. More than 90% of the schools are in in girls' schools or co-ed schools, and more than 60% are in government schools. Now, this really is a starting step, the first step towards bringing in that equality. At the right age, when you're involving girls in STEM, when you're giving them that right type of exposure through the various initiatives that the Atal Tinkering Labs program does, I think it's the right point to start with. It's the right age to start with, and it's also the right orientation to give to students at that age. There are a lot of initiatives that are run within the Atal Tinkering Labs program as well, per se. Every year, for example, the Atal Tinkering Labs program has its annual flagship competition called the ATL Marathon, and many students and their teachers and mentors together participate in this marathon. And every year, I'm amazed to see the type of innovations that come from students at that age. You know, students as young as 10 years old are innovating for women-centric problems and issues, coming up with solutions for women's safety, coming up with wearable devices where, I see that as one of the challenge statements this year, but I see it almost every year, even without having a specific problem statement around women-centric problems. There is this consciousness and empathy among students where they are actually innovating, and this is not just girls innovating for girls, these are boys innovating for girls, and that's where we want to be. We want to be where everybody is jointly thinking about an equal India, about gender equality, not just women marching on with that agenda. So I'm so glad that we've done something like that in a more formal way, but even informally in the Tinkering Labs we've seen that there are so many innovations every now and then. Girl participation in Tinkering Labs has significantly increased over the last few years, we've noticed. And a good proof of concept is the participation itself in the ATL Marathon. So every year the percentage goes up, but last year it was as close to 46% participation, and 49% of the winning teams were girls. Now these are like really coming on at par, and this is really without making any specific efforts in terms of pushing girl students towards STEM, but it's just the very idea that you get an opportunity and they latch onto it. So when at that age where there are no biases, when you actually engage with them, this is what you see as a result. So a lot of other initiatives, and we're fortunate to have great partners such as Dell Technologies, the Embassy of Sweden, which have curated programs specifically for girls in Atal Tinkering Labs. So they have a program called along with Atal Innovation Mission in collaboration with Embassy of Sweden, just earlier this week, concluded a program called She STEM. Every year, that's a program done in honor of the women scientists, women in STEM, women and girls who are achieving something, who are taking the right strides towards innovation, towards STEM, in their careers or in their education, are celebrated through this event. And every year there is a participation from women in STEM from Sweden as well as India, including Tinkering Labs girl students. Wow. So this year again, we had a fantastic celebration of the Nobel Week in India through this She STEM event that we recently concluded. In addition, the She Codes program, and this year called the Shepreneur program in collaboration with Dell, is also focused towards girl students. The idea is that throughout the year, there is a targeted focus towards girl students in terms of skilling them on 21st century skills, on giving them a guided mentoring and hand-holding. And through this process and journey, they are then taken to a boot camp where they get an opportunity to do an internship. So all these all-girls teams coming out of Marathon and of various Atal Tinkering Labs are then participating in this internship program where they get exposed to better and newer skills. They get exposed to innovation and entrepreneurship beyond the Tinkering Labs. They actually experience things beyond prototypes. They learn how to pitch a product, they learn marketing skills, they learn how to plan a business model for your mock startup. So, giving them a real flavor of what it is like to be an entrepreneur at that young age. And I'm not kidding. I actually, when I see the presentation from these girl students at the end of that boot camp, it is so heartening to see that these girls at this age are actually, shining so bright, so confident. They are actually talking about problems that exist in India with solutions, and have the right passion and drive to take us to the next level. So I feel very thrilled when I see all of that, and I think we are, as Atal Innovation Mission and through the Tinkering Labs program, are taking steps in the right direction. And of course, there are many more I could go on talking, but we have many other programs.
True.
And Pramit, you want to talk about the Atal incubation centers and ACIC programs as well.
Typically, what Deepali said, I've been fortunate enough to go through a lot of these innovations that these school children, girl children have come up with. And not only girl children, innovating for women-centric challenges done by the school boys. So that was the most heartening to see what Deepali just touched upon. It was all about the whole sensitization that has happened in the schools. And as Deepali mentioned, we run the students through a whole life cycle or a whole journey of entrepreneurship, right? From seeding an idea to take it into the proper pitching sessions. So that is the kind of extent we have. But as we continue Atal Innovation Mission's journey throughout, again, intervening at the right juncture of an innovator, once these young innovators graduate out of schools, they go to colleges, right? Where we have our second program, what Deepali was mentioning, was Atal Incubation Centers. So, as you know, business incubators typically help startups grow with an idea and come out with a commercialized product. But here, we also have incubators that are typically or specially catered to women entrepreneurs. So, out of our 68, all are co-ed incubators, but we have 2-3 specific incubators which only cater to women entrepreneurs. So that is one of the interventions that Atal Innovation Mission has done to promote women entrepreneurship. Apart from that, we have in Niti Aayog something called as Women Entrepreneurship Platform. So that encourages a lot of women entrepreneurship to come up. Similar, taking this cue forward, even under the banner of Atal New India Challenges, we have started to launch this women-centric challenges. Now, how does it fit actually in the whole gamut of things? So in Atal New India Challenge, we typically talk about challenges that are of national importance and societal relevance. Now, when we talk about women, they constitute 50% of our country. So if you're talking about 50% of your country, that's something of a national importance.
Yes, absolutely.
So that clause is already established. Now, secondly, we are talking about developing a whole culture about women's safety, women hygiene, all these things. These are all somewhere to get to developing the society or developing the societal consciousness. So it's again a societal problem that we are trying to deal with. So if you just amalgamate the two, a problem that is of national proportion with a societal relevance. So that's where the women-centric challenge come out as a separate theme altogether. Forget about all other sectors. It has proved itself to be a theme serious enough to be taken up as a separate thread of challenges. Right. So that's where we are here. That's why we had started this as a formal challenge, and we are almost 15-20 days into this challenge segment that we are running. So just if most of the viewers have come, whether you have got a chance to look at those challenge statements or not, I would suggest please do visit our website, which is aim.gov.in. Go to the Atal New India Challenges page where you will find the women-centric challenges. But at this point, let me just open it up a little about what we are envisioning in women-centric challenges. Because there are lots of challenges to solve. Are we really covering the whole spectrum of challenges? Are we really getting into the demographics, as Deepali pointed out, whole demographics? Or are we looking at the whole socioeconomic strata of people? And are we doing inclusive innovation when we are talking about women-centric things? So one thing, Deepali, as you were also a part of the whole curation process, we started curating these challenges from the very basic things. Like when we talk about women-centric challenges, it starts with the woman himself or herself, right? So when we talk about woman herself, the first thing that comes into mind is woman hygiene, right? अगर मैं ठीक हूँ तो उसके बाद मैं बाकी चीजों को समझ सकता हूँ. So woman hygiene forms the first pillar of our challenge statement, where we are typically dealing with two or three different things. We are talking about sanitary hygiene. We are talking about urinary tract infection detection and remedy. And we are also talking about innovative toilet concept. So this is a common problem. Deepali, yes. You would have traveled, you would have seen, yes. I have seen my parents, I have seen my sister doing long distance travel and avoiding water altogether. Just that because we don't have good public toilet facilities, especially for women. So you want to avoid those things. But there are innovations that are coming up. There are innovations, obviously, young innovators who are on Facebook Live and elsewhere will be innovating for. So our first thing was you make the woman's life easier at an individual level. Only then you can start thinking of the other gamut of challenges. So once we have established women hygiene and we have solved for it, then comes the next piece. Maybe if I were to quote Maslow's hierarchy of needs, so we have just done through the physiological challenges or the basic things. Then when you move up, it's all about safety, right? The second level.
Right.
But I think Deepali can point it out better than
you
me.
actually said it very well, Pramit, that we're looking at the very foundation, basic ideas around what really needs to be done to help women and empower them. It starts with very basics. It starts with as simple as toilets. It starts with as simple as menstrual hygiene.
Yes.
It's as simple as safety. These are basic human rights. And these are the ones which we need to first cater to. Of course, there's a huge journey ahead of us and long path ahead of us, but the very basic ones need to be given that due importance. And it's great that the challenge statements this year, and especially focusing on women-centered themes, cover all possible gamuts, right from your basic hygiene needs to up until what a professional woman would require in her work life. So it is not urban or rural. It is not age specific. It is not where you come from, what demographics. Some of these apply to everyone, I would say, but some of these are also very specific and niche to those problems that we typically ignore, because even urban women, for that matter, go through some of these challenges, and I think it's important to even cater to that. Looking at things which are broad-based as well as things which are very niche and specific in nature, because the whole idea is that we cover it full circle. And with that, of course, safety. I mean, let me argue a bit with you over there. Being a woman, I feel that safety is even more important than hygiene for me, I would say. And if I don't feel safe, like I was saying, Pramit, that more than hygiene also, I would say safety comes most important and first and foremost for women. And I'm glad that we have a theme around it which has very specific problem statements as well when it comes to women's safety. बोलने में बहुत सही है ये कि हाँ, women are safe, we are doing all these things for women's safety, but what exactly do we need to do when it comes to women's safety? If you can't make women feel safe in their current environments, then you cannot achieve any of those other objectives that you have, even including health, wellness, professionally or personally fulfilling lives that they can live otherwise. So I think that's the most important thing to do in terms of enabling or empowering women: respect and safety, the first and foremost. In this, the three problem statements this year's challenge have, the challenge statements rather, that are there are development of an improved life-saving application. Now, there are a lot of applications, I was saying, which, which exist currently. But I think what we really need to think about, and all you innovators out there, you should really think about that, how is this connected to the larger support ecosystem? Right. That is the real innovation needed, because that's where we lack. A device, an application that can trigger the right sort of, institutions that support is available at that point in time is most important. An application that is there where I'm not reaching out to multiple people differently. It's one-stop shop. That sort of an application needs to exist, where I can get consultation, where if there is a need, someone can reach out to me, I can reach out to someone. There should be all these devices. So there is a next problem statement, which is of safety gadgets. तो ये एप्लीकेशन जो है वो सिर्फ ये नहीं होना चाहिए कि हाँ एप्लीकेशन एग्जिस्ट करता है, उस पर आपके पास कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन है, यू माइट आपको इट माइट कनेक्ट यू टू लोकल पुलिस स्टेशन और टू योर क्लोज रिलेटिव्स. नो, दैट इज नॉट व्हाट वी एनविजन एन एप्लीकेशन टू बी. ये एक वन स्टॉप सोल्यूशन होना चाहिए जिसमें anything and everything that relates to women's safety should come together, right from आपको अगर किसी से सलाह लेनी है, आपको किसी से मदद लेनी है, आपको कोई डिवाइस चाहिए, वेरेबल्स जिसका सेकंड प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट है, तो वो भी आपको इस ऐप पे सब कुछ मिलना चाहिए. इट हैज टू बी दैट वन थिंग. सेफ्टी गाइड्स इज द सेकंड प्रॉब्लम और चैलेंज स्टेटमेंट. एक चीज जो मैं बोलूंगी सेफ्टी गाइड्स में, कि सेफ्टी गाइड्स अगेन शुड बी वेरेबल एंड शुड बी reasonable. We are talking about women across India, rural India. पहली बात उनको पहनने में उसको शर्म नहीं आनी चाहिए
जी।
वो पहने उसको तो उनको कन्वीनियंट लगना चाहिए. यू हैव टू थिंक अबाउट अगर वो काम करती है
जी।
घर का, इफ शी हैज टू वॉश यूटेंसिल्स, आपको घर का काम करना है, आपको घर संभालना है, आपको गाड़ी चलानी है, आपको ऑफिस में काम करना है, आप इन सब चीजों को वो पहन के कर सके, ये मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो इमेजिन इट लाइक दैट. प्लीज इमेजिन एंड टॉक टू अ लॉट ऑफ वुमेन कि ऐसा क्या है जो उनके लिए कन्वीनियंट होगा. ये बहुत जरूरी है. दिस इज समथिंग वी फॉरगेट एट टाइम्स.
वेरी गुड टिप फॉर आवर प्रोडक्ट बेस्ड स्टार्टअप्स जो है, जो इन प्रोडक्ट बनाते हैं फॉर वुमेन सेफ्टी गैजेट्स. आई थिंक दिस इज अ वेरी गुड आइडिया और वेरी गुड इनसाइट. टॉक टू अ लॉट ऑफ वुमेन, क्योंकि डिजाइन्स अलग होते हैं. एक वुमेन को जो चाहिए एंड जो एक हम एज मेल्स जो इसको कंप्रीहेंड करते हैं शायद काफी अलग होते हैं. इवन फॉर दैट मैटर, जस्ट टू टेल यू, आप लोग इसको गूगल कर सकते हैं. इवन आईफोन के डिजाइन आर नॉट यूनिसेक्स एक्चुअली. ये इट्स मोर टू डू विथ मेल थिंग. सो प्लीज गूगल कीजिए. ये आपके लिए होमवर्क रहा एक्चुअली.
एटलीस्ट इन दिस पर्टिकुलर challenge, it has to be completely based. Designs should be based on women only because it is focused and centered towards them. And the third challenge statement under this theme of safety is exploring technology safety in the context of violence against women. Again, in the world that we live in, with metaverse, with digitally connected worlds, ये सिर्फ अर्बन पॉपुलेशन के लिए नहीं है, ये सिर्फ अर्बन महिलाओं के लिए नहीं है, ये रूरल महिलाओं के लिए भी बहुत एप्लीकेबल है. आजकल सब कुछ ऑनलाइन होता है, डिजिटली होता है. एंड आई थिंक हम प्राउडली कह सकते हैं कि 90% ऑफ इंडिया इज यूजिंग डिजिटल पेमेंट्स. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट आई थिंक अ लॉट ऑफ other crimes happen against women. It may not be necessarily something which comes out of their physical safety, but those crimes could also be in terms of financially not understanding things and being duped because of that reason. So a lot of these things lead to women's feeling safe and feeling respected, and I think that's what these challenges aim towards in a complete sense, from their basic safety to their digital safety. I think all of that comes together through these problem statements. We have many more. I want to talk about one more problem statement, which I really relate with myself. Professional networking opportunities for women.
That's my favorite too.
Exactly. So इसके बारे में मैं एक चीज बोलना चाहती हूँ कि ये जब प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट के बारे में मैंने सुना प्रमित कि ये प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट है, I actually came and told you कि I really like this problem statement of yours because not taking it away from the grassroots and the bigger problem, but I think some of these problems also need to be addressed because we talk about women not enough women representation in leadership roles. We talk about fewer women being in board representations, women co-founders or founders of startups and enterprises. Where is that coming from? So while a lot of women enter the workforce, very few make it to the top, and there are multiple reasons behind it. It is of course the personal circumstances, but I think putting all that aside, something as basic as networking opportunities, the same sort of networking opportunities do not exist for women. And we have to think of ways of solving that. Why? Because of a lot of reasons like societal taboos. A lot of things that men can easily do in terms of networking and is seen as normal is not seen as normal when a woman tries and does that. So you have to create platforms and opportunities for them. And I think when you talk about their growth in an organic manner, in a professional setup, I think some of these things are enablers. Not really, fixing up a quota for them, but enabling it. Enabling their growth in an organization by solving these smaller hurdles that might exist in their professional life. So I really like this problem statement. That's why I said I actually want to talk about it. That how can we create the challenge statements being, how can we create platforms that are designed for mothers who want to re-enter the workforce, who would have had to deprioritize their career for their personal priorities, and also in terms of development of women-only business networking application. Again, a very important thing because there aren't any that exist right now for women at a large scale where they feel safe, where they can actually interact, get guidance, take mentorship from women, have role models from workforce who could guide them. A lot of things could get solved in our professional careers if we just are able to talk to someone who has experienced something like that. So I would say that in terms of professional life. This is a very important problem statement and challenge statement. And मैं ये भी बोलना चाहती हूँ कि while there could be a scenario where a lot of our innovators आप लोग urban India से होंगे, and you might jump onto this problem statement कि this is something I relate to, like I said I relate to this, but don't go by that. I mean, this is important, but we need to cover a more bigger base, and of course let's have some innovation in all of these themes.
Okay, so ये थे हमारे 5 themes जिसके ऊपर हम वुमेन सेंट्रिक चैलेंजेस रन कर रहे हैं अनिक में. Right from women hygiene, women safety, professional networking opportunities, making life of a working woman easier, and how to ease the life of a rural woman. So इन 5 themes पे हम challenge run कर रहे हैं. Applications are open till 31st of December. Please do apply. And दीपाली, हमें Facebook live होते हुए हमें कम से कम 8-10 questions receive हुए हैं. Let me just throw the first question open to you. So हमें पूछा जा रहा है, ये अटल न्यू इंडिया चैलेंज के तहत वुमेन सेंट्रिक चैलेंज लॉन्च करने का इंस्पिरेशन क्या है? व्हाट इज द इंस्पिरेशन बिहाइंड दिस? एंड अ वेरी गुड थिंग एक्चुअली. एंड हाउ डू वी एनविजन कि हम लोग इस इनोवेशंस को पब्लिक के पास लेके जाएंगे? हाउ डू वी डू दैट? सो या
ओके, सो I think this topic did not need an inspiration, first of all. But I would say the right word would be a trigger. तो इंस्पिरेशन हमेशा से है ऐसी टॉपिक्स के लिए. अटल इनोवेशन मिशन के पास हमेशा से इसका इंस्पिरेशन रहा है. कई सालों से हम वुमेन सेंट्रिक चीज़ों पे काम कर रहे हैं. ये चैलेंज इस साल आया है, बट हर बार हमारे चैलेंजेस में, प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट्स में कहीं ना कहीं इसका कुछ ना कुछ जिक्र रहा ही है. और कहीं ना कहीं हमने इसके बारे में हर तरह से कोशिश करी है. हर चीज़ जो हम करते हैं उसमें इसका ध्यान रखा जाए कि कैसे जेंडर इक्वालिटी, कैसे बायसेस रिमूव हों, कैसे हम मोर इंक्लूसिव बने. बट आई वुड से एक और चीज़ जिससे इसको ड्राइव मिल गया और जिससे इसको एक क्या कहेंगे, ट्रिगर मिल गया, is our honorable PM's vision. Yes. I would say his vision of empowering women, of enabling women to lead a more fuller life, a more fulfilling life, and to be self-sufficient, to be at par in any field stream, to feel safe, to have a healthy lifestyle. All of that, I think, is one of the key drivers. This 15th August, our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi mentioned it also, that how India and we all need to work together towards women's respect and empowerment. And I think that was one more reason for us to do this, but there are many more reasons. कैसे हम इसको लेके जाएंगे ग्रास रूट्स तक, इसीलिए ये कॉल है. आप जब कुछ भी बनाएं, कोई भी इनोवेशन बनाएं, हम आप सबसे पूछ रहे हैं एज इनोवेटर्स. इट कुड बी एन इनोवेटर कमिंग फ्रॉम rural parts of India, from urban parts of India. It could be a man, it could be a woman who's innovating for women centric problems. आप लोग जब इसको बनाएं तो ये ज़रूर सोचें, और ये मैंने अपने प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट के उसमें भी बोला था कि आप ये ज़रूर सोचें कि ये कैसे सबके लिए कन्वीनियंट होगा. जो चीज़ आप सोल्यूशन बना रहे हो, प्लीज़ थिंक अबाउट ऑल द लेंसेज दैट एग्जिस्ट. If you create something that can be applicable or conveniently adopted, there is nothing that is going to stop us from taking it to the masses. Yeah. So please think about its applicability, think about its convenience, think about its pricing, think about its infrastructure requirements. When you're making an app, think about it कि वहाँ पर network issues हैं किसी region में, north east में हैं, Jammu and Kashmir में, how will we tackle that? When you're making a wearable, think about women coming from different parts and stratas of the country where they may have different challenges even wearing something. Think about that. So I would say that our job will be to evaluate and reward the best with the grants, the best innovations that come forward, and take them through a journey.
Yes.
In terms of taking their prototypes, their innovations to the next level. But your job will be to come up with such innovations where it is easy to actually implement and cascade.
अगर मैं आपके बात पे जस्ट थोड़ा सा ऐड करना चाहूँगा, आई थिंक दीपाली ने स्पॉट ऑन बोला है कि ये इंस्पिरेशन कहाँ से आया. एक अर्थनीति के स्टूडेंट के तौर पे मैं बोलूँगा, अगर हमें अपनी वुमेन पार्टिसिपेशन इन लेबर फोर्स को 20% से आगे बढ़ाना है तो इन चैलेंजेस को ओवरकम करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. A percentage increase in women participation in labor force adds a 0.1% to your GDP. So इसलिए ये इम्पोर्टेंट है, इसलिए ये हमारा इंस्पिरेशन है. जब आप एक वर्किंग वुमन को वापस लाते हो वर्कफोर्स में, यू क्रिएट डाइवर्सिटी, यू क्रिएट इनोवेटिव थिंकिंग इन द होल इकोसिस्टम. सो इसलिए ये हमारा इंस्पिरेशन है. सो कहीं ना कहीं ये थे हमारे मूल इंस्पिरेशन के कारण. एंड सेकेंड पार्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चन, हाउ विल वी टेक इट टू द मासेस. एज दीपाली राइटली पॉइंटेड आउट, आप लोग डिज़ाइन पे ध्यान दीजिए. डिज़ाइन थिंकिंग बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. इसके बाद जब भी आप लोग अपने प्रोटोटाइप लेके हमें प्रेजेंट करोगे, हम आपको इवेलुएट करेंगे एंड आप सक्सेसफुल होगे, तो आप हमारे साथ 1.5 साल की एक जर्नी पे जाओगे. इन 1.5 साल में यू विल बी सपोर्टेड विद फंडिंग ऑफ टू द ट्यून ऑफ 1 crore rupees that will help you develop your prototype to a commercialized product. आपको अटल इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर के तहत आपको इंक्यूबेशन सपोर्ट मिलेगा, जो आपको अपने बिजनेस प्लान, आपके टेक्निकल प्लान, आपके डिज़ाइंस वगैरह डेवलप करने का एक संपूर्ण रूप से गाइडेंस देगा. ये दूसरा हो गया. तीसरा, अगर आपका सोल्यूशन सचमुच निखर के आता है, हम आपको उसको कनेक्ट कराएंगे रेलिवेंट मिनिस्ट्रीज के साथ, ताकि ये मिनिस्ट्रीज इसको स्केल अप कर सके आपके साथ मिलके. एंड दैट्स हाउ यू टेक इट आउट टू द मासेस थ्रू अ गवर्नमेंट चैनल. इसके अलावा ऑब्वियसली देयर इज अ होल बिजनेस टू कंज्यूमर और अ बिजनेस टू बिजनेस चैनल जिसको आप लेवरेज करोगे. सो कहीं ना कहीं ये हमारे कुछ चुनिंदा उपाय हैं जिसके तहत हम पब्लिक के पास लेके जाएंगे. ओके, मेरे पास 2 क्वेश्चन है. आई थिंक लॉजिकली ये फिट बैठेगा. व्हाट इज द एलिजिबिलिटी क्राइटेरिया टू पार्टिसिपेट? आई विल टेक दिस अप. ओके, सो एलिजिबिलिटी क्राइटेरिया के तौर पे बहुत सिंपल है. आपको आइदर एक स्टार्टअप होने की ज़रूरत है. स्टार्टअप का डेफिनेशन हम जानते हैं, 10 साल से कम पुरानी कंपनी होनी चाहिए. आप DPIIT में आपकी रजिस्ट्रेशन होनी चाहिए. जब आपकी रजिस्ट्रेशन हो जाती है, आप डीम्ड हो जाते हैं एज अ स्टार्टअप. सो आइदर आप एक स्टार्टअप होने चाहिए, या फिर आप MSME मिनिस्ट्री के तहत एक MSME के तौर पे आप स्वीकृत होने चाहिए. इन दोनों में से अगर आप एक है तो आप आराम से अप्लाई कर सकते हैं, और कोई लिमिटेशंस इसमें नहीं है. देयर इज नथिंग, एप्लीकेशन फ़ी बोल के कुछ नहीं है. देयर आर नो अदर लिमिटेशंस. इसलिए प्लीज़ जो भी आपके पास आइडिया है अप्लाई कीजिए उसके साथ. ओके, एक फॉलोअप क्वेश्चन टू दिस इज, कैन अ फाइनल ईयर और लास्ट ईयर स्टूडेंट अप्लाई फॉर द चैलेंज? एज आई सेड, ये कैवियाट है, इट हैज़ टू बी अ स्टार्टअप और MSME. अगर आप स्टूडेंट भी है एंड यू आर रियली सीरियस अबाउट योर इनोवेशन, यू वांट टू फॉर्म अ स्टार्टअप, यू प्लीज फॉर्म अ स्टार्टअप एंड अप्लाई. आज के दिन में 3 से 5 दिन लगेगा आपको आपकी फॉर्मेशन के लिए एक स्टार्टअप, विदाउट एनी कॉस्ट. सो अगर आप सीरियस अबाउट योर आइडिया, कॉन्फिडेंट अबाउट योर आइडिया, एक स्टार्टअप फॉर्म कीजिए एंड अप्लाई. देयर इज नो स्टॉपिंग यू फ्रॉम दिस.
I have one more question
Yes.
here. What are the major roadblocks that have been faced till date in promoting women-centric innovations? क्या तकलीफें या बाधाएं आ सकती हैं आपके रास्ते में जब आप औरतों के लिए कुछ इनोवेशन करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं? कहाँ से शुरू करें?
आई थिंक आई हैव अ फर्स्ट थिंग जो मेरे जहन में आता है. आई थिंक सबसे पहला रोड ब्लॉक है, so as a male I can say, are we really appreciative of the problem statement? So क्या हम मानते हैं कि ये चैलेंज है एक वर्किंग वुमेन को वर्कफोर्स में वापस लाने के लिए जिसने ब्रेक लिया है? क्या ये चैलेंज है? कहीं ना कहीं हमारे मन में ये सबसे पहले डाउट होता है, ये तो कोई चैलेंज नहीं होना चाहिए, ब्रेक लिया आ जाएगी. So this is what our instinct is, but that is so wrong. When you have seen somebody from the close quarters, you can imagine. So I think first appreciation of the challenge statement by the larger audience or the larger population is the first roadblock that we need.
Not just women and not just men. A lot of times I would say even women do not appreciate or understand what it could be causing them.
True. Such
challenges. सहनशीलता आदत हो जाती है. आप एक बार एक उस सिचुएशन में आ जाते हैं, आप सोचते हैं आज ऐसे ही है, इसके साथ ही चलना है. Solving it or facing the tide and really dealing with it or thinking of a solution doesn't happen in a lot of instances. So I think पहला रोड ब्लॉक, और बिल्कुल सही बोला प्रमित आपने कि सबसे पहली चीज़ तो ये है कि हम उसको अप्रिशिएट ही नहीं करते, हम समझते ही नहीं कि ये प्रॉब्लम है. तो प्रॉब्लम फर्स्ट एम्पथाइजिंग,
Yes.
That is the biggest issue, that we don't empathize with these things. हमें लगता ही नहीं कि ये problem है, and इसीलिए उसका innovations ही नहीं होते. तो जो चीज़ problem नहीं है उसका solution नहीं आएगा. तो I think the first roadblock is that. But the second roadblock is that when we are innovating or doing, and I've been saying that again and again, we are not designing for women.
Yeah.
We are designing for mankind.
Yes.
We are not designing for women. So if we are not designing everything that we innovate for women, roadblocks आएंगे ना. आप उनको mind में रख के नहीं कर रहे हैं तो for women innovations कैसे हो सकते हैं without their ideas or their contribution or they being central to the idea. So that's another roadblock. A third roadblock that I would say one could face in this is that typically, business reasons. So from a business standpoint, I want to do something that is catering to 100% of the audience. Something that applies to everyone. An app that a man and a woman both need. Right? Versus an app that only a man needs or only a woman needs. So again, there could be some business reasons also behind this, where one thinks that it is more profitable to create a product that has 100% of the base as customers versus a 50% base. So profits could be another reason, that motivation not coming in because आपको लगता है मेरा market base शायद इतना बड़ा नहीं है.
Yeah.
पर ये गलत है, because think about it, 50% market base जिसके पास वो solutions ही नहीं है, an absolute green field area versus a brown field जहाँ आप सोच रहे हैं कि यहाँ मुझे 100% ऑडियंस मिल रहा है, मैं इसको 50% कैप्चर कर सकता हूँ. आप फिर 100% और 50% को कैप्चर कर सकते हैं.
इंडिया की 50% जनता मतलब यूरोप की पॉपुलेशन से ज़्यादा की बात कर रहे हैं.
Exactly. So I would say that that's another reason where I feel or I've come across innovators or startups saying that why they don't focus on such challenge statements. And lastly, I want to add that when you don't have enough representation in in the workforce from women, there is nobody on the other side to appreciate your innovation also. Right. So problem statement you said, but even the final solution getting appreciated to say, yes, I want to invest in it. Yes, I want to fund something like this. So we all know from stats that, of the funding and the opportunities that go in terms of investments, only about 6.5% of that funding is raised by women on the startups in the last 2 years. So we know that even when women are trying to innovate and come to the other side of the table, it's not happening. So as a result, I think the whole ecosystem is not moving forward in that direction, because you need a representation everywhere to be able to take such innovations ahead. So I think that's one more roadblock.
I think I will continue with your point, and I will take a cue from what you actually previously said again. I think the fourth or the fifth reason can be the lack of प्रोफेशनल नेटवर्क. आज के दिन में कोई भी आप प्रोफेशनल नेटवर्क देखोगे, दैट इज अगेन मेल डोमिनेटेड, एंड फीमेल डोंट हैव अ वॉइस ओवर देयर. दे कांट रीच आउट टू द रिस्पेक्टिव और कंसर्न मेंटर्स जो उनके प्रॉब्लम को समझ सके, उनको प्रोत्साहन दे सके, उनको आगे ले जा सके. और कहीं ना कहीं दिस ऑल्सो लीड्स टू अ lack of risk-taking appetite, and then you are unable to scale your product up. So maybe these are the 4-5 things on top of the mind. हमें लग रहा है. Obviously, things can be far more than what we can comprehend.
Again, you as innovators can actually tell us in your journey when you go through it. Tell us what were some of the roadblocks that you faced. Maybe that's something to also think about and solve.
That will be great story to hear actually from all of you. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, again, it's a very challenge-specific question. What is the selection process? Very nice. So, selection process 3 लेवल पे होता है हमारे यहाँ पे. सबसे पहले आप अपना एप्लीकेशन सबमिट करोगे जो ऑनलाइन पोर्टल के थ्रू आप कर रहे हो, aim-challenges at gov.in. इस पे आप अप्लाई करोगे. There is a whole portal जहाँ पे आप अप्लाई करोगे, and then 31st of December को ये पोर्टल बंद होगा. एंड देन वी विल इवेलुएट फर्स्ट लेवल पे आप लोगों के एप्लीकेशन के बेसिस पे. इनमें से सर्टेन परसेंटेज ऑफ पीपल विल गेट शॉर्टलिस्टेड एंड विल मूव टू अ इन पर्सन और अ वर्चुअल प्रेजेंटेशन बिफोर अ टेक्निकल जूरी. तो वहाँ पे आपको सोल्यूशन प्रेजेंट करने का मौका मिलेगा, एंड वहाँ पे जूरी विल इवेलुएट यू, एंड देन फाइनली द एंटायर थिंग मूव्स टू योर फाइनेंशियल ड्यू डिलिजेंस. उसमें आप क्वालिफाई करते हो, then you will be eligible for getting funding from Atal Innovation Mission as well as other support that you can have. अगर सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस में मैं सिलेक्शन क्राइटेरिया की बात करूं, हम मूल रूप पे 5 क्राइटेरिया पे ध्यान देते हैं. सबसे पहला है रेलिवेंस ऑफ योर सोल्यूशन टू द चैलेंज स्टेटमेंट. अगर मैं वुमेन सेफ्टी की बात कर रहा हूँ, कि आपका सोल्यूशन कितना रेलिवेंट है उस एरिया पे. तो ये दिस इज द फर्स्ट थिंग. सेकेंड, ऑब्वियसली द होल इनोवेटिवनेस ऑफ योर सोल्यूशन, जो थोड़ा सब्जेक्टिव होता है, बट दैट्स वेयर द टेक्निकल जूरी कम्स इन टू इवैल्यूएट दिस सोल्यूशन. थर्ड, तो आपने रेलिवेंट है आपका प्रॉब्लम, आपका सोल्यूशन, आपने इसको एस्टैब्लिश कर दिया, इनोवेटिवनेस, बट ये सारी चीजें तभी इंप्लीमेंट हो सकती जब वो फीजिबल हो, राइट? सो द थर्ड थिंग इज होल फीजिबिलिटी. क्या आपकी प्रोडक्ट टेक्निकली फीजिबल है, क्या आपका प्रोडक्ट फाइनेंशियली फीजिबल है. सो ये थर्ड लेवल ऑफ इवैल्यूएशन, थर्ड क्राइटेरिया ऑफ इवैल्यूएशन होता है. चौथा होता है द होल, आप इवैल्यूएट, हम फीजिबल है, हम तो बना दिए, बट क्या ये आपका सोल्यूशन स्केलेबल है. आप जैसे बोल रहे थे दीपाली, एक वन स्टॉप शॉप अप्रोच, क्या हम सबको लेके चल सकते हैं. सो वो वाला, क्या आपका प्रोडक्ट स्केलेबल है, कमर्शियलाइजेबल है. तो ये हो गया आपका चौथा. एंड पांचवा, आपके सोल्यूशन का इम्पैक्ट क्या है. इज इट रियली गेटिंग इनटू द और रियली इम्पैक्टिंग द प्रॉब्लम एरियाज दैट वी हैव पुट आउट. द प्रोफेशनल थिंग, द प्रोफेशनल नेटवर्किंग थिंग, इज इट रियली एड्रेसिंग दैट. सो मूल रूप पे ये 5 क्राइटेरियाज पे हम चीज़ों को इवैल्यूएट करते हैं. सो दिस इज इट. I think, Deepali, we have one more question out here. This is again, I think we had answered it during our thing, but I think somebody has still asked, how are these challenges curated to be inclusive of both urban and rural geography?
I think that's all we talked about in the last 45 minutes. So
that's it. I think questions हमारे पास और भी हैं, but we are running out of time. So I will suggest, please aim-challenges@gov.in, इस पे अपने क्वेश्चंस प्लीज भेजा कीजिए. ये सारे क्वेश्चंस का आंसर आपको 24 से 48 घंटों में मिलेगा. दिस इज ऑलरेडी ऑलवेज पर्टिकुलर आईडी दैट इज ऑलवेज मैड. सो इस पे आप भेजिए, हम लोग पूरी तरह से कोशिश करेंगे आपके सवालों का जवाब देने के लिए. And again,
please innovate for such an important problem statement, themes that we've put forward, women-centric problem statements. It's an urge to everyone that think about it, innovate for such a cause, and make India more equal in every sense. When you innovate, you'll be making a huge mark.
Absolutely. I think when we do some progress with women, we make the country progress. So that's why we need innovations from you. So thank you so much for joining us in this Facebook live session. Really appreciate.
Thank you.
Goodbye from us. Thank you so much.